Chris Billy, Huddersfield Town. The most famous goal of Chris Billy's life.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
And Steve Simonson's boots now. He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the frame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears. Huddersfield Town are promoted.
Mustafa Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Hi everyone and welcome to episode 112 of the Huddersfield Town Social, part of the Andy Takes That Chance network. Another week and a half has elapsed and another thoroughly disappointing away performance at Plymouth was endured. A defeat was probably not surprising considering Town sit 18th in the form table away from home, having amassed a colossal 12 defeats on the road this season. Despite this, a capitulation after Plymouth's equaliser was nonetheless frightening. Oh yeah, and Joe Taylor scored again, didn't he? Surprise, surprise. Reading up next then, and with all Town's rival teams chalking up comprehensive wins at the weekend, Town now sit 10th and simply have to win to have any chance of getting back into top 6 contention. Can they do it? Almost certainly not. But on the plus side, at least there's only 7 more games left to suffer before we switch our misery to England at the World Cup. I'll be our host for this evening, Nick Barlow, and joining me tonight will be Gaz K, Andy K, and his mate, Cal, enjoyed it so much that Mr. Stephen Downs wanted to get in on the action and joins us from the West Yorkshire Football Show. Evening, gents. How are we all doing?
Oh, grand. Cheers.
Yeah,
Wicked.
Yeah. Good holiday, Gaz?
Absolutely, Mega. Thank you very much. If anybody's considering Texas, I'd definitely go. The rodeo was a particular highlight.
Tell us about the swine. Really. Tell us about the swine.
Swifty swines, yeah.
Swifty swines.
Pigs round the track, but apparently the pigs don't do it for the glory, they do it for the Oreo cookie at the end. a bit like me when I used to play football.
It's just like you, but then 10 years.
Oh, brilliant. Dean Ball, Tim Pot, I'm sorry, mate. It's my fault entirely. It's technical issues, but we're here now. So, guys, get all your comments in. As always, we do appreciate your comments and your questions. If there's any topics that you want us to discuss, then we will, of course. So, yeah, I think, lads, we're gonna have to start with the news that was announced last Wednesday that Liam Manning has taken compassionate leave until the end of the season after the passing of his son Theo in October 2024. So he did a period of leave back then, but then he went back to manage Bristol City, didn't he, for their playoff campaign, and then he went to Norwich, and then of course us. But yeah, we received the news last Wednesday, and look, I listened to Martin Killer's show yesterday with Dom Alson, and they were brave enough to share some of their own experiences with grief and how it shaped them, and shows that, you know, grief affects everybody differently. It's not linear. It can be triggered by anything and everything. And at the end of the day, I think it goes to show that, you know, we sit here, we moan and groan and complain about football, but at the end of the day, things like this just show football doesn't matter at the end of the day, does it? It's all our thoughts and prayers are with Liam Manning and his family, and we wish him all the best. And I think what I noticed, lads, on social media, you know, it is a bit of a bear pit for football, isn't it, at the best of times? But actually, you know, it still shows that the football community is compassionate. You see all the messages of support going in for him, not just from Town, but from all the other football clubs as well. But I think as a fan base, we are still quite united. And yeah, we'll moan and you know, we'll hold people to account when things aren't going right on the pitch. But equally, if someone's in trouble or struggling, we will rally round and show our support. And yeah, there's one or two fuckwits that everybody just blocks or ignores on there, but you get that anyway, don't you, with anything? But by and large, the support has been overwhelming, and I think, you know, kudos to the club and for being able to give him that compassionate leave. And obviously Liam has done the best thing for him and his family, so just on behalf of this pod, we wish you all the best, mate, and hopefully we'll see him back in the saddle. But is there anything you guys want to say before? I just wanted to touch on it before we move on.
No, not really. I haven't heard Martin Killer's piece. Obviously, I know Ian very well. I've known him since he was a kid, so I know what Ian's been through. So I can imagine if anybody's qualified to talk about it, Ian definitely is. But you're right, it affects everybody in different ways. And I'm with you, Nick. I hope he's all right. I hope his family's all right. And football, it's just some blokes kicking a bag of wind round. It's not really that. Despite the fact we make out it is, it's not that serious, is it? So,
yeah, nothing to add other than that. What Martin Killer said on the and he takes that chance. I listened to it driving back from Halifax this afternoon with a bit of a tear in my eye. They talked really eloquently about it, and I'm really proud of them both for being able to talk about such difficult things. I'm proud of Liam Manning as well, that he's given it the best that he can, and has also done the right thing for himself and his family. Like Gaz says, absolutely nothing is more important than his family and what they've experienced. Is for any of us that are parents, it's beyond belief that you could even contemplate that happening. So all Team Manning, I hope we can give him some sort of gesture on Saturday that shows him that we're thinking about him and his family. I think we could. I don't think it's inappropriate to talk about whether or not he might return. I think that's a topic I think we can discuss, but I think it's absolutely the right thing, and just the best of luck to Mr. Drury and Mr. Stead to see what they can do with us over the last 7 games of the season.
Yeah, do listen to that episode. It's on the main pod. It was aired yesterday, but yeah, I agree, Andy. I think both Ian and Matt, really brave thing to do to talk about things like that on the pod, and it's a bit of an inspiration to people, because it is hard to talk about these things, and maybe people should talk about these things more, but it's certainly not easy, and it's definitely worth a listen. I thought it was a really good episode, and also they did mention that on the town website they posted links to charities, people to speak to if you've been affected by child bereavement, and all the links are on there. So if you need that support, go on there, have a look. There's all the different links on there. So let's move on, guys. So Steve, I know you guys covered this on your show on the last episode, so I guess this is opening up old wounds for you, isn't it? It's bringing back some PTSD from that game. But 600-ish fans made the 628-mile round trip down to Plymouth, and I think more in hope than expectation, wasn't it? Considering how the form that Plymouth are in and the form that we're in away from home, it doesn't take Einstein to work out that it were going to be a tough game. And I thought it started with Plymouth on the front foot, causing us problems. And then we score a goal, for me, completely against the run of play. But some brilliant individual play from Humphreys, who was played in by May. And I think he beats about 4 people and shows really good composure in the box to slide it past the keeper. And then we're thinking, actually, look, we've actually, this could give us some momentum, some belief, some confidence. And, Humphreys, what are your thoughts on Humphreys, lads? Because, I've not been his... I don't know what to make of him. Steve, I know you've not been his biggest fan listening to some of your episodes, mate, but I've been up and down with him. In patches he shows he's got decent touch, decent passing, but then other times he'll be either anonymous or he'll do something daft. So I'm a bit on the fence with him, really, but it was a great goal. But how do you see his time at Town so far, guys?
I think from my point, obviously I've been quite clear on the podcast that I'm with, and I don't really see what his best attribute is. He's not a particularly fast lad in the midfield. He doesn't control a game, I know these are big examples, but such as Aaron Moy, he's not a tough tackler like a Johnny Ogg, although he can put a tackle in at times. And he's not really got the energy that, say, David Kasulu has. So I don't really know what his best attribute is. He just sort of like the game passes him by quite a lot, and it's so frustrating because he obviously has got some talent to, to come from Ipswich. Obviously, I think that was a Lee Grant sort of suggestion and idea to bring him in, because obviously he knows McKenna, and we saw on against Plymouth in the goal what he can produce. He has got a bit of skill. He has got a bit of a get up and sort of go attitude, but whether he's not being played in the right way in the system, or he's just not feeling it, I don't know. I've just not been impressed with him. But then again, I've not been impressed with a lot of our midfield this season, to be honest. I was very, very harsh on Ledson at the beginning of the season, as well as Marcus Harness. I think they've both, whilst Ledson has improved and Harness has done well in games, I think they've both been very under par from what we were expecting. Obviously, Kasumu's been injured for last swathes of the season again. And obviously we lost Castledine. So, when Humphreys come in, he's not going to be a Leo Castledine player. And I think we were all hoping that he would sort of take over that sort of mantle, as it were. And that's not his game. And so I've just been disappointed, and I've been disappointed with the whole midfield. I'll be honest, Nick. It's Saturday was a prime, not Saturday, sorry. Against Plymouth was a prime example. They cut us open. They cut through us. It was like watching a knife through butter, and then you get to our back line and it's just all over the shop. And the Plymouth game was a perfect example of what we've had to put up with all season, to be honest.
He played 44 games last year though for Wycombe, didn't he? And scored a handful of goals, I think. Did he clean up on the Player of the Season awards?
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
well,
he did. Yeah,
young player and Player of the Season. So there's clearly something in there. And I'm with you. It's when he has played, it's never been alongside probably the same player twice, maybe Ledson a couple of times. But that midfield's been rotated so much. I guess that's not going to help him. Maybe he's a young lad and maybe he needs 10, 12 games to be able to get into his stride and get going. Maybe Steve, I don't really know. But I thought he was probably the only player that deserved the mark above a 6 against Plymouth. Because at least he never gave up. He kept digging in, kept having a go. Whereas the one or two of his senior colleagues, certainly once the equaliser went in, decided, this for a game of soldiers, I've had enough. So you'd have to give him a bit of credit for that. But I'm with you, by the way. He's like a lot of these young academy-bred centre midfielders. They're all very much of an ilk.
What do they do, Gaz? What's his attribute? If you can tell me what his best attribute is, because I don't see it myself. I don't see what he's really good at.
Yeah, I think he's good with the ball at his feet. I think he's shown that on a couple of occasions that he can take a ball and beat 2 or 3 men, but he's not Lewis O'Brien. He doesn't have O'Brien's legs, does he? He's not particularly a passer. But like I say, he's like a lot of these kids that come through the academies. They're trained to play in a certain way to keep the ball, keep it tidy, keep it moving. They're not designed anymore to stick an Hollywood ball 60 yards or get it and run 50 yards. They're just not bred like that, are they? So, but he clearly did something at Wycombe that he's not doing here, Steve. He must have done. You don't play 44 games and clean up on the Player of the Season awards, do you? If you're not performing.
No, absolutely not. But for me, when you look down the midfielders that we've had through the years, even going to someone like Ollie Norwood, he was slow, didn't put a tackle in, didn't have a real sort of grit determination. But the one thing he could do was really pass a ball well. Whether it was 60 yards or 3 yards. A lot of the time I see Humphreys, and whilst Jay can beat a few men, which is brilliant, by the way, is he particularly accurate with his passing? I think sometimes he has given the ball away in midfield, and that's led to attacks on Murray Wallace because he plays on that side, of course.
That was part of the Plymouth. When he made his debut at Stockport, that was the issue in that he was trying to play square passes across the midfield to get a bit of width on it, and he must have picked out Stockport man 3 or 4 times, and that's where I think he's not been great. So that's definitely not a strength, but that's one of the things that Town want him to do, is to pick the ball up and then spread it wide to get this ineffectual sideways and backwards wherever we would go type of stuff. So I don't think he's been played in a system that really suits him. he's got a bit of Lewis O'Brien about him, although he's not nowhere near as good. In that, I think he can drive forward. I mean, look at the goal he scored against Plymouth, picked it up and drove forward with it. The 85th minute winner at Peterborough was a similar sort of thing. He picked it up. Yeah, all right. The Peterborough player said, "Just put it through here, sir, and you're guaranteed to score." To help him, but again, that was two great strikes, two great goals. I just think he's a bit. He's not playing in a system that really allows him to be as good a player as he clearly was for Wycombe, and it would be interesting to get a Wycombe fan's view on him last season, because I don't think he's playing the same way as he would have done for them. I think he's probably more of a driving the ball forward, a la Tom Upenda. So we're going to get probably a better replacement for him next season, hopefully, if Tom comes back. But yeah, I think you're right. He's all right at some stuff, but not outstanding at enough for him to be able to go, "Oh wow, that was a brilliant signing." I think he's got potential, but the problem for me is he's not being played in the way that maybe Wycombe played him, and the lad's going to struggle for me. But yeah, he's done okay, but nothing more, and we probably needed a bit more than okay to maintain a bit of a push, having lost somebody of the calibre of Castledine. Yeah, he's always had a tough act to follow there. Sorry, Nick. Go on.
Alves is the same, by the way. I think Alves is the same. I don't know, I think the club's probably underutilised his services. I know he's had that injury and then he's come back, but
yeah,
I think he's another one where there's something there. There's clearly something there, because he won't be on the books at Leicester, but what is it? What we haven't seen enough of him to go, do you know what? That's what you're really good at, and that's how we're going to get the best out of you.
I think he's a drive the ball forward type of, like the first couple of games. I think he played in a Virtue Trophy game. I think it might have been somebody that we beat fairly easily, so he had a lot of space to run into, and he was frighteningly good at picking the ball up in like sort of deep and then driving it forward and making things happen. I think he reminds me a lot of my lad when he's playing, because my lad is a bugger for not passing the ball when he should. And Alves is the same. He's got to do a couple of spins, a couple of turns around and beat the same man 3 times before he does anything with it. I think he's got to, whatever he's going to do, he's got to do it. He's got to do it faster. Not that I know anything about being a professional footballer, but that's, my observation is that he just needs to do whatever he's going to do quicker. But you could say that about a lot of the team. We tend to do things much more slowly than I would want. So yeah, it's my view on Alves.
I think, like most young players, they benefit by having sustained runners in the side, though, Andy, as well.
Yeah,
and I think, unfortunately, neither of them has really had that. It's been very much chop and change. I remember when Humphreys came in against Stockport, I always thought he'd be best in a 10, like threading balls through, rather than trying to spray balls wide, deeper, where he's more chance of losing the ball. I always thought, he played a couple of good balls in, I think one for Gooch where he had a decent shot away, and I thought maybe this is someone that can thread some of those balls through and we can play a bit more centrally.
Yeah.
And I think for Wycombe, to be fair, I think he played in a 10 role for the majority of that time, but we've played him a bit deeper and maybe it's not his best position. I think Alves is better on that sort of left forward role, cutting in and having shots. And you're right, he will run at people and lose the ball a lot when he should pass, but at least he's somebody that can get you off your seat and
trying to make it happen,
create something. Yeah. But, these players thrive off being in the side on a regular basis and getting some momentum. And, just putting them in for the odd game, they're not really going to, that's not going to help them, is it? Get up to speed. It's not going to help them develop partnerships on the pitch.
Yeah.
And I think particularly with younger players, that's really important for them to grow into the season. They've not really had that. So, and a lot of that has been with injuries and things as well. And it's just Town in it again with injuries. We talk about it every season. We have so many injuries. We can't keep a settled side, and that's been a big problem for us, hasn't it? But yeah, but we scored the goal. But let's be honest, Plymouth were on top nearly the entire game. Nichols makes a really good save from Peppel, and that was a bit of a warning that a stray pass put him in. He's a really good striker, Peppel. I really like him. If he hadn't have been doing so well, he's the sort of striker I'd have said maybe we could look at if we were to have a bit of a refresh up top. I think May had a chance before half-time that he shot straight at the keeper from an angle. But other than that, you're thinking, right, you're getting at half-time, you're 1-0 up, right, against the run of play. What do you need to do? So you need to keep it tight, frustrate the crowd, maybe force them into a few errors as they become a bit more desperate, and maybe try and catch them on the break. But just keep it tight, don't do all stupid. And then what do these idiots do within 1 minute? Ryan Ledson just belts it straight out of play for a corner, gifting him a corner. And, you know, it's one thing Huddersfield Town have done well this season is concede from corners and set pieces. And again, we've 11 men in box, but no one's picking up a guy at far post. And it's miraculous. He's cleared off the line and it makes a couple of saves, but it still drops out to Dale. Absolute. To be fair, it's a good finish from him, just smashed it into net, but it's just terrible defending all around, isn't it? And you're giving complete momentum to Plymouth with 2 minutes into that second half, and I messaged and said, well, this game's over, because you knew what were coming after that. But again, guys, so frustrating, isn't it? Our defending from set pieces has really cost us this season.
Well, they got into half time at 1-0, and I think that was a victory in itself. When we talked about the Lincoln game the other week, I was sort of saying when they went 2-0, they need to try and see it out to half time, and they didn't let a goal in. And actually, in fairness, although they had a few chances, I thought actually we're okay. They defended okay-ish to see it out to half time. But I mean, it's just, what do they say in that dressing room at half time? I mean, fuck me. And then, of course, Ledson goes off 30 seconds later holding his back. So, that was clearly a gamble, leaving him on the pitch when he was struggling, and a gamble that looked like it backfired. But, the goal was it was just as sloppy as wasn't it? And also, when the ball breaks the block on the edge of the area, if you watch the replay, Feeney shuffles out to him. Fucking get out there and just throw yourself for that ball.
Yeah.
What that ball, he sort of shuffles and does that horrible turn, hands behind his back turny thing that the defenders insist on doing now.
Maywood, same mate. He could have slid in. He could have slide tagged, and tried to block it, but he was kind of. They all turn away they don't want to get.
They just don't put the body on the line, which is what it needed. Because the clearance off the line, actually, was it Wallace that cleared it off the line? I think somebody cleared it off the line, didn't they?
Yeah.
And then my mate Jack Anick made a decent save with his feet on the second follow up, and then again they had a chance to clear it, they just scuff it. It was just absolutely shite. And I'm with you, Nick, when that ball went in, my hangover, because I've been out on the piss tonight. It was 9 o'clock in Texas time when I was laid in bed watching it. I've been on the piss the night before, so my hangover got even worse when that first goal went, because you just knew what were coming, didn't you? You just knew there was no way on earth we got it in as to score another goal against the run of play against that lot. You're right, it was more or less game over, but it's just criminal defending.
The worst thing about that goal by a mile is the fact that we had all 11 players in the box. All 11 players. I just don't understand it. At what level, football, do you put all 11 men at the back for a corner? I just don't. I can't tactically get my head around why that is a good thing to do. Because when the ball is cleared, if somebody's on the edge of the area, Dale automatically doesn't get a shot because he has to turn back and probably play it back to the halfway line where his other man is. The last man that's normally for us, it'd either be Mumba or Sorensen. So, that could be totally and utterly sorted by just having 1 or 2 men on the edge of the box ready to run out, or even, do you know what, further up than the box. But yeah, for me, it's just been systematic all season. Why we have this thing about 11 men in the box, I don't know. They've tried to, Oggy's asked, I think Manning and Grant, he's asked them both after the game why they do it, and they both come out with some absolute nonsense answer. So I've no idea why. If somebody can explain it to me, say why it's a good idea, then fair play. But
well, they quote statistics, don't they? But it must be generalised statistics. It can't be Towns, because how many goals have we conceded from set pieces? Do you know what I mean? It's not like it's working, is it? You've got Alfie Mayston on edge at box, who's about 5 foot. What's he doing? I'm not funny, but what's he doing there?
But he's not on edge at box. He's like 5 yards inside the edge of the box. So that's why he doesn't get out to there quick enough. I mean, I agree. He could have got there, but systematically they've done that all season, and they must be reading the stats backwards, Nick.
Well, I'm going to give you a stat here, right? So, stat for you: in professional football, right? Obviously, I've asked co-pilot this, so it might not be accurate, but it's in line of something I'd read previously. Only 2 to 3% of corner kicks result directly in a goal. Okay, so we are defending, putting 11 players in the box. I mean, it's obviously gone up since Town have started defending corner kicks. It would have been 1 or 2%, but that's factored in the performance of Huddersfield Town this season. So we've got 9 men in the box on a 97% chance, without there being 11 men in the box, that the goal's not going to be scored anyway. That makes no sense to have 11 players in the box. And he's quoted, like I think Steve was talking about, some sort of stat about the number of times you are likely to concede from a corner, but only 3% of the time. 1 in 40 corner kicks are you going to concede from. So why wouldn't you put some pressure on the opposition when you are in a situation where you've got all else to play for, that you go, do you know what, we've got to win some games. You ain't going to win games with 11 players in your own penalty box defending a situation where 97% of the time you're not going to concede. That just doesn't make any tactical sense to me.
It makes even less sense when you play against a side like Lincoln, where they've only got 1 player that's below 6 foot. So why is Alfie May back in our box trying to defend somebody who's 6'3"?
No, get him up there and make the 6'3" lad have to mark him because he's an out ball. So move the player away from the danger area by making him mark one of our own players. That would seem to make a little bit of sense to me, because it ain't working with the 11 men back, is it? So
it's a mismatch. You've got giants from opposition, and then you've got 4 midgets stood next to them trying to defend it. Give them something to think about. Have at least 2 on halfway line. Any clearance, and one of the only times we've done that, we scored from it. I think it were Northampton at home, and Charles left up, and we actually scored a goal because we left someone up from a corner. Yeah. That's one of the only times we've done it, and we just haven't. We just don't seem to. I don't get it, and it's not going to change, is it? But I'm every time I see it. Well, maybe I don't know, but
what makes me laugh as well on an attacking point of view, I don't know whether you chaps have seen it, but at least on 7 occasions this season since we've brought Ballymumba in, they cross it to back post to try and let him head it in. I think I'm more of a target man than Ballymumba, to be honest. And I'm registered blind, so I can't even see the ball coming.
You're probably more of a threat down the wing than Ballymumba as well this season, based on what we've seen. So I think I am.
He's as much used as a cat flap in a giraffe house, isn't he? He's one that, like, what? How much did he cost? It won't have been $1 million, will it?
$1 million.
About reported $1 million. Well, even half that, I think you said, Gaz, even half that has been a waste of money on it. We'd no need to sign him. And I mean, if that's a sign of things to comfort summer, then we're in deep trouble. So 1-1. It was one-way traffic pretty much after that. It was a question of, was it going to be 2 or 3-1? And Asher bundles over a Senient box. I mean, it's something to note, but you put your arms on someone. He's going to give a penalty 1,000,000%, all day long away from home. It's just a daft thing to do. He's going out. He's going nowhere. I don't know what he's doing there.
Well, it's another second phase as well, Nick, isn't it? It's another second phase. That's the annoying thing.
Yeah, another gift for the opposition. And Peppel, he ain't going to miss it. Just straight down middle, nice and easy as you like. And by this point, then Plymouth are winning every 50-50, every header. And then I think Anik's been to the Owen Goodman school of shot fumbling, and then just presents it straight to a Senefit tap-in for 3-1. And those 600 fans that made the journey were thinking, thank God we can go and get our fish and chips or whatever. We can go on the beach. We can go down get some beers down the pub and put the game behind us. Yeah. It's so disappointing for the fans that have travelled up and down the country away this season. Some of the performances have been absolutely shocking, and we don't mind if you see the effort if they're in the game, but with the players, the capabilities they've got. As soon as any adversity comes in, as soon as they get the momentum swings, very, very hard for those players to get that momentum back. It's almost like it's like a tsunami. They just can't hold back, and it's just wave after wave after wave. And it was pretty miserable, wasn't it, guys? I don't know really what else to say other than it was another classic Town away performance.
I mean, a special word for And I know Anik can't play much football. And I know he's rusty. But that was probably one of the worst 45 minutes I've seen from a timekeeper in a very long time. He didn't catch anything. His punching wasn't great. I mean, the mistake for the goal. I mean, you could have put your cap on that and stopped it, couldn't you? And he somehow spun it back into play. By the way, the defenders aren't blameless for that because they stopped and let that bloke run, stick it in the net. So whilst I'm moaning about Anik, actually, wasn't entirely all his fault, that goal. But he looked so wobbly, and you have to question, why on earth have we sent out Chapman on loan, brought this lad in, and also third choice from Bromley or wherever he was from. I still don't understand what the fucking hell was that signing. What?
I forgot him.
I mean,
what's his name?
Tasno. Whatever it is, yeah. I don't know lads now, but what's the point of that? I mean, what on earth? That lad is never going to play a professional game for Huddersfield Town. If we're paying him $1,000 a week, it's $1,000 a week we're wasted. So, I have to say that the goalkeeping part of the team, unfortunately, it sounds like concussion. I'm fairly sure Nichols will be back in on Saturday, but I would rather have had Chapman around. I don't really understand what we've got from sending Chapman in and sending Chapman out and bringing Anik in.
I presume we'll find out with the press conference that what state Nichols is in. But I think I'd heard Matt on the other pods talk about. I think he's had more than one concussion this season, so he might have to follow a different protocol. So it means he might not be available for Saturday, depending on what obviously he got, whether he's passed the concussion test or not. So we could be having the joy of Sanev on the bench and Anik in goal. So I think there's a comment just coming from somebody about Chapman. Clearly wanted and needed game time. He wasn't going to get it at Huddersfield, so why not go somewhere else? I think that's why. And I think they brought in the lad from Sanev. They brought him in because they didn't want to expose the younger kids in the under 21s and under 18s to having to bring the competition up for the main goalkeeping group. So I think it's a square peg in a square hole just for the end of this season. And then you'd think Chapman would come back, and you'd think he'd be fighting Nichols for the gloves for next season. And Anik and Sanev would I think they're both on contracts to the end of the season. So I think once the season's over, we won't see them again.
I kind of hope that the lad from Bromley actually plays a game, because then we can just say it as a stat, can't we? One game wonder or something for the club. It'd be like in 50 years, it'd be a quiz question. You know what I mean? And only people that were at the game would remember him play for us. But I think for me, Nick, the thing from the Plymouth game is just how sort of sad I felt for the 600 that went. And probably for the 200-300 that probably booked hotels, bought tickets, paid for travel down there. We're not talking 20 quid. We're talking, a couple of £100, depending on what your hotel is that you stay in and that sort of stuff, And for me, you work hard all week. It's a lot of money with everything going up in the world. And, the fans went, support the team, did what they did. And then you get performances like that where you just think, what the hell have you been doing for a week on the football, like on training ground? It's not even like complicated stuff, or we've been beaten by worldly goals. Like, they're all basic errors that have been like made and conceded. It's just it's embarrassing.
We're just sort of 1% off it in terms of, like, that you talked about the attempted block. They're just a second behind and 5% off in terms of the strength of the move and the determination to block it. It's just not there. And I don't know whether that's a confidence thing or whether that's they've down tools. I don't think that professional footballers down tools, but there's a drop off in intensity when they see oh God, it's happened again. I've said this before, but they've got no process for dealing with when the shit hits the fan. They can't reset and go again. They just spiral. And you can see it in their faces. You can see it in the body language. So there's something in terms of, they've talked about mindset and behaviours and stuff at the club. They're words on a wall. They're not happening because you can see they're not on it when it comes to making that last-ditch tackle or that last-ditch. I mean, I would exclude Murray Wallace from that. I think he's given of himself really well in the last few games, but he's the only one. I mean, he got really angry, didn't he, after the Plymouth game? He didn't do a media-trained piece to camera. He was proper pissed off, and rightly so. The rest of them, you've got to feel like it's not. It just doesn't feel like it matters that much as it needs to for them to mount a challenge for the top six.
I'm bored of them being angry, to be honest.
Yeah,
bored of them I'm bored of them saying that they're angry.
But they don't appear angry. Wallace did. The rest of them just appear a little bit. Yeah, we go again. We've got to take the lessons. We've got to take the positives. We've heard it, like you said, we've heard it 1,000 times over the last 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Stop talking, lads. Just put it in on the pitch. It's we've had enough of it. Put up or shut up type of thing.
Yeah, it just looks like the optics are terrible. It looks like they're just... You see the other team flying into 50-50s, closing down, eye press, full of energy. And then you look at us and we just look strolling, lethargic, heads down. You're not throwing yourself on the line to block, like giving everything just to block that shot.
Yeah.
You're not seeing it. And that's all you want to see as fans. And that doesn't take bloody skill, that, does it? That just takes endeavour, desire. And yeah, I know fitness levels might not be great, again, with the injuries and stuff, but you're supposed to be fighting for top 6. Do you know what I mean? And we just lost with a whimper there.
Yeah.
Gifted 3 goals away. Sloppiness. That's what it is. It's sloppiness every single week at the moment, especially away from home. Not as bad at home, under Manning, to be fair. We have ground out results at home, but away from home, we've been absolutely shocking. 3.45 XG for them compared to 0.74 for Town tells its own story, isn't it, really?
But it's the old flat track bully thing, isn't it? I'm repeating the same. We're having the same podcast again and again and again, aren't we? When it's in our favour, when it's a lovely pitch, and when what support there is in the stadium is behind them, they can get a win. They can find a way. When you get adversity away from home, like a shit pitch at Stevenage or a shit pitch at Port Vale, they haven't got it in them. And that's that. They said they signed characters. They recruit on character. Every time I've heard Town say we recruit on character, I have never seen that come out on the pitch, apart from 16-17 when we signed those 5 German lads. You saw character then. I've not seen it since. Who would you say is going to be remembered from any of the teams that we've had over the last 5 seasons? If you disregard the playoff final team of 21-22, none of them have shown that they've got the presence or the character. It's a heavy shirt. It's Huddersfield Town shirt. Where there's a lot of scrutiny. We're a big club in this league, whether you like it or not. We are, with the history and the heritage, and that's all we've got. We haven't got it on the pitch at the minute. It's a heavy shirt to wear. Can you wear it? The consistent evidence is that people can wear it when it's at home, but they can't wear it away from home. And you don't win championships or get into playoff places by being a flat track bully at home and not being able to do it away. And we've not been able to do it away at all.
And there is an upside. I think finally it confirmed to anybody who had any lingering hopes we're going to make the playoffs. We definitely aren't doing. I think we've said it for the most people who've seen it with their own eyes, even the most optimistic, have sort of had to accept we were probably out of the game a little while ago. But I think that just absolutely confirmed it. You know, when you look at the fixtures that are coming up, if we get 7 points, 9 points out of the remaining games, I'll be surprised. I think we'll finish lower down than last year, which, you know, is an abject failure on every single measure. I'm struggling to think of one thing that's a positive from the 25-26 season that you can...
It's nearly over.
I honestly can't think of I'm struggling to think of a positive. You know, nobody in the squad. We've had no breakthroughs from the academy. Maybe Asher, you might argue.
Cameron Asher, 100%. Yeah, that goal down at Reading, brilliant. He's come through.
The only positive I can find. I think other than that, I'm really struggling, and I feel a bit for Drury instead, because I think there'll be a little bit of, you know, it's the thrice champions game as well Saturday, innit? So
No, it's Saturday 11th. It's the
Is it?
11th. It's the Thrice Champions
But
game. Yeah.
But either way, I think Reading at home. I watched a bit of Reading on Saturday on telly, and I mean they're functional. There's no great skill in them, but they've got pace out wide, big lad up front. How familiar does this sound? They've got big lads at back who edit and kick it, 2 fast lads on the wing, and a big lad through the middle. And they put the I can't. Who did they play? I forgot who they played. Wigan played Wigan, didn't they? And they dispatched Wigan with ease. But Taylor didn't get a sniff, by the way, against them 2 big lads. So yeah, I think they're going to have a tough game because I can't see anything other than a Reading win. So I hope for their sake it don't turn too sour because they're stepping in and I guess they're going to do the best and they're not going to be whether Liam Manning comes back or not. Drury instead out the future of our management teams, are they?
Well, what I would say is I agree with what I think it was Andy. Forgive me if it was you guys, but I agreed with Andy earlier that said that hopefully that the fan base on Saturday gives Manning a bit of something to say, at least thanks for being involved in the club and obviously doing what he's done. But you're right, guys. Drury instead isn't the future of our club. I think that personally, my own feeling is that the season is over. I agree that we'll finish lower than we did last season, and I've said for quite a while, I don't think we'll win another game this season. We've got seven left, and I don't think we'll win one. I think the only one that you can think that we might have a chance of winning is Leyton Orient. I don't see us winning another game, to be honest. I don't think they've got it in them. I think there's other sides with too much to play for. I think I don't. What have the players got left to play for? People will go, "Well, there's still a chance, like you said, to make playoffs," but there ain't really. We all know that there isn't. And even if there was, and we got in there, there's only 2 things that's going to happen. We're either going to get absolutely humiliated because we can't beat a team in and around the playoffs, or we'll do the most Huddersfield Town thing ever, and we'll probably go up without scoring a single goal like we have done before. So there's only 2.
That's the only way to go.
We're specialists at doing it, aren't we? Like drawing 0-0, getting to penalty shootouts, and then winning penalty shootouts. I mean,
why did you score a goal?
If England had as much luck in penalty shootouts as Town, would have won 4 World Cups by now, but they don't. So, you know what I mean? But I predict that we won't win another game this season. I think it's done.
I think that we've got to win at least 5 out of the 7 that we've got left to stand any chance, and probably 6 out of the 7.
Good luck with that.
And when you look, and you look at who we've got, so we've got Reading, Orient, Wickham, Cardiff, Bolton, Mansfield, Wimbledon. So you could already say that I think we'll beat Reading. I think we'll draw at Orient. Wickham, I think Duff will do one on us. Cardiff, well, it could be over and done with by then, but you'd think that Cardiff would come and do a number on us. Bolton, apart from that 4-0 miracle when, earlier on, a couple of seasons ago, after the walk there, Mansfield will have given up by then, and you'd hope that Wimbledon would have given up by then, so you might have a chance with those 2. But yeah, there's dropping of the points in those games against the lower teams, the Port Vales, the Doncasters. That's what screwed us over, and that's the frustrating thing, that this division has been shit most of the season, and we've still mathematically got a chance. We should be nowhere near it. But we have not got a chance in hell of winning 5 out of 7 games. This squad hasn't got the balls to do it. That you think of the team that was so when Warnock came in and kept us up 22-23, we need a similar set of pattern of results like we got from those last 7 games to have a chance of getting anything. And Drury instead I'm not advocating the return of Neil Warnock at all. They are not in that category of being able to manufacture that type of result. So for me, it was fantastic not having a thing to think about Huddersfield Town on Saturday. Fantastic. So yeah, it's done for me.
But
I'll
it's
still be
all
there. Don't go to all home games. Yeah, cheers to us. Let's have a great time. Go and watch the football.
Yeah. The thing is, Steve, going back to that point, do you know what? I don't think that's as crazy as it sounds, because when you look at when Schofield took over, Worthy took over, you see how south it can go. You know, I'm hoping it doesn't. I'm hoping we do get some wins, but I think even the most optimistic Town fan would say that the chance of us winning 6 or 7 out of the last 7 is slim to 0. So we can kind of settle our minds to that. I mean, to be fair, Steve, if the penalty shootout and the Virtue is anything to go by, it's a good job we're not going to be relying on penalties for playoffs this season. The worst I've ever seen in my life.
That is true, Nick. That is true, to be fair. But historically, we're not bad.
Yeah. So, just a couple of players I want to talk about. I know you've got to go, Steve. So you go whenever you want, mate. But yeah, right. If you've got to go off suddenly, thanks for coming on, mate. It's been good.
Yeah,
to have you on.
mate.
Yeah,
no, thanks, lads.
You're much better than Killer, Steve.
Oh yeah, well, that's not saying a lot, mate. But
listen,
yeah,
we'll talk contract terms afterwards. We'll touch your agent. Slide it.
Steve's done well. He's not mentioned his podcast. Well, I keep waiting for him to drop the name. And Callum got it in last week, Steve. I'm really disappointed you, man.
Well, just as obviously a little premiere here. Obviously, do check out the West Yorkshire Football Show, Town Talk on a Sunday night. Cheers, lads. Thanks very much for that. We no way, by the way, see you as competition, but it's been great to work with you and come on. So no, I really enjoy listening to you lads on a regular basis. I think, listen, we all try and talk sense, don't we? And it's interesting listening to the views on our podcast and your podcast. I find it so fascinating now. We all have very similar views, and yet what seems to happen on the football pitch isn't represented by what we see as fans. And I find that absolutely maddening that we've actually got a fan now that's in as director of football. So let's hope it improves going forward. That's all I would say. But yeah, cheers, Nick. Thanks very much, mate, for letting us come on, and obviously good luck for the rest of the show, lads.
Cheers, buddy. See you later.
Mate.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
The more people, more podcasts talking about Town, the better. And I think we're all the same, aren't we? We're all just suffering together. We're all miserable. We all want the same thing and not seeing it on the pitch, aren't we? It's not rocket science, is it?
You speak for yourself about being miserable, Nick. Me and Andy, we're rays of sunshine.
Happy as squealing swines, us. Chasing an Oreo.
We want people to come on, don't we? So it's good Cal and Steve came on. Yeah. So anybody can come on.
Anybody.
I haven't read some comments out, guys, have I? Because we've been yabbing too much. When are the season ticket prices released? I don't know, mate, but it can't be far off. I mean, I don't think they want to release them the way things are going at the moment, but it can't be far off, so we'll keep an eye out for those. I'm hoping they'll freeze them, but something's telling me that there may be a minor increase. I'm not sure, but so we'll see. What's Marshall saying here? Here to next season, give Manning full season to build, give him few transfer windows to build a squad, and let's actually have a long-term rebuild and plan. That's what we need. The club's crying out for stability, isn't it? Both in terms of management and in terms of the squad, with not having a season absolutely ravaged by injury. That would be nice. And I know Mr. Nagel mentioned it on his video diary, and who knows what we're going to do about it, but they need to do something, that's for sure. Just touch on a couple of players then, guys. So Joe Taylor bagged the other week again, so taking his tally to 13 goals now for the season. Been a lot of talk on social media about potential suitors. Usually that happens when the old agents, getting his word in a few people, journalist ears, to try and generate a move. Oxford mentioned among some other clubs. Hardly surprising, really, considering Oxford's already taken a couple of our players in the past. But what do you make to this with Joe Taylor? To me, and I'm only speculating here, but to me, this reads like he's not really keen on maybe coming back to Town when you start getting stories like this, to me, I think this is his agent working to try and get him a move out of the club. I mean, at least he's scoring goals, so his price will be decent. But in a way, it'd be a massive shame for me. I'd have liked to have seen him get a full season in a proper formation that suited him to see what he could have done. But it just doesn't seem to be working out, does it? Do you reckon he'll come back next season, or do you think he'll be gone?
Well, the issue will be he's on big wages for League One, so we're going to need a Championship club to pick him up to be able to pay him what we pay him. He doesn't strike me as the sort of bloke that's going to take a wage cut. So I would think he's going to want the same and more. He's gone to Wigan and scored goals. So, if he sits in front of another manager, he'll be able to say, well, it wasn't me, it was them. Because look, when I went from there to there, I fucking banged them in. And the Wigan thing, by the way, I'm not sure it's just the formation, Nick. I think somebody else pointed it out, so I won't claim the glory. But if you look at his goals scored for Wigan, it's all against back fours that have pushed right up. And we don't get that space. Teams, generally speaking, don't leave that space in behind for Huddersfield Town. They tend to play in low blocks and the knitters on the break, don't they? So, I'm not just sure it's our players as such. I think it's the room that he gets given as a Wigan player. He wouldn't get as a Town player, but he's never settled, has he? I think right from the very beginning with the whole. We took the piss out of the interview when he joined, didn't he? Mark Carr tried him for 6 months, and he was back to be here. And was it a 4.5 year or a 5.5 year contract or something we gave him on mega money? So it's not just the transfer fee we've got to try and recruit. It's somebody who's going to take on 4 years at 15 grand a week or 12 grand a week or whatever he's on. That's going to be the challenge. I think there'll be suitors for him. Whether the suitors want to pay those wages is another matter. But I'm not sure. He doesn't want to be here, does he? I don't think. I think it's another Sorba job, really, where he don't really want to be here. He might have to come back and play here for half a season to get the move he wants. But, and honestly, am I that bothered? I've not seen anything in a Huddersfield Town shirt that makes me think the bloke could be a future legend for us, unless you two think different.
I think there's potential there, Gaz, but I think, again, we're not a side that plays through the middle very often, are we? And I remember back in the Virtu game against, I think it was Rotherham where he played, and he made about 4 or 5 intelligent runs through the middle, really good runs off the ball, and he wasn't picked out once. Nobody even attempted to play him through. And in the end, he just stopped and put his arms up. He's like, and I can see in a better side playing through the middle, decent pass of the ball, even when teams sit deep, I think he can cause problems. But I just don't think we haven't played like that. We haven't played to his strengths. And again, he's that kind of arrogant striker where once he gets on a run, he's quite hard to stop, but he needs regular games. And again, he's been in and out of the side. He's not been the main man, which sometimes doesn't help with strikers, does it? They like to be the main man. So for me, it's a shame because he's young. He's still got a lot of growth potential. You've only to have a good season where you score 25 goals and you can get sold for 8 million these days. Mm-hmm. So I would have liked to have seen him have another season maybe in a different formation, 2 up top, just to see how he got on. But at the end of the day, if a Championship club takes him, it frees up a wage, it gets us money, and we can reinvest that in a big striker, a bit more suited to League One football, then so be it. Another one is Alfie May. I don't know if you guys have seen, but I've seen a few rumours flying about on X as well. Again, It's not really worked out for Alfie this season with us, has it? Has he scored 5 goals all season, which is nothing for him. But he hasn't put in good performances either in a lot of games. So again, maybe that's somebody who, if he does want to leave, again, wages, I won't imagine he'll be on small wages, will he? So maybe, again, that's a way that we can get some money back. Because a lot of these other players are under contracts, and I know Mays, but if we can get him, if he goes, maybe we're going to need at least one of them to go so we can reshape the squad a little bit.
I think if you get them 2 out, you're probably going to free up 4 normal League One wages, aren't you? If we pay normal League One wage, you're going to get 4 for the price of 2 in. But And I think Alfie's in a different place to Joe Taylor, isn't he? I think Alfie probably wants. He's up. What's he 32 or something? Do you know, Andy? How old is he?
He's 32, isn't he? He's 32
yeah, so
on a 3-year contract. He'd have 2 years
couple
left.
Of years left at this level. Probably 2 to 3 years of professional football left in him. He ain't going to want it. He ain't going to want to spend the last 3 years pissed off, not enjoying it. He could take a wage drop to move. I don't think Joe Taylor would. But, you know, you could see Alfie moving on. And I think both of them, by the way, will probably go somewhere else and score shitloads of goals.
But the thing with May is, it isn't part of the reason that he's with us is the location, that he wants to be up north because of family reasons. So it would have to be a northern club that picked him up, you would think. So who would be in the market to pick up that contract? It depends, you know. Maybe something like if Bradford went up, that could be a possibility for them. But you know, maybe Stockport if they go up,
Stockport, Bolton,
someone like that. Yeah, but it's going to be a very specific set of circumstances that make whoever's after him suitable for Alfie May and his family and the contract and everything else. So I think there's got to be more stars aligned for Alfie May to get sold than there is for Joe Taylor. I mean, Joe Taylor's loan is going. You can't imagine it going much better from his perspective and our perspective, because his market value is going up. We'd have a real problem on our hands if he wasn't scoring goals, you know, because if he comes back to us and isn't looking like anybody's gonna want him. So that it's probably the best case scenario is that if he's gonna go, and I think it's his agent that's talking it up, because that's what agents do, not necessarily for themselves, for the player, but for themselves as well, to get their cut of it. They exploit opportunities like this to, you know, these young players are commodities that they buy and sell to look after themselves. They're not that bothered about the player. So I think there's a few more stars have got to align for Alfie May to go. You know, one of the reasons that we got him is that it's probably his last big contract. So you've got to hope that if Liam Manning stays on, like you said, that those two up front would be, you know, you'd pretty much want that if we could guarantee that we could find out a way to play that would make both of them work. And we certainly haven't done that with Alfie May, and we didn't do it with Joe Taylor. So, you know, there's lots of changes need to happen for us to be talking about how well they've done in 12 months' time. But in terms of them going, I could see May staying, but I could see Taylor being snapped up by a lower end championship club. But I can't see that for Alfie May.
And I like Alfie May as a character, but you know, you take the Plymouth game, he's playing up front on his own. Expect it to hold the ball up. Do you know what I mean? Like a traditional role that you would expect a big striker to hold the ball up. It's not. It's not. We're not. It's not really fair, is it, to him? Andrew says, "Why maybe we'll sign Bobby Wales on a permanent." I mean, what on earth gone there, man?
Bless him. I feel for him because he's obviously struggling.
If this is a taster of the summer recruitment, then I'm starting to shudder a bit thinking about it. But we're going to have to do better than that in the summer, because it's not been great. I've got to be honest. January it's been poor. I mean, Hardy, I understand, although a bit of a gamble, like most of our signings tend to be. Injured players hoping that they come good for us and rarely works out. But the other two, I don't understand. It's been a complete waste of money for me. But on to Reading. So Friday for a change, over Easter. Nice. Town v Reading. Reading. Thing is, with Drury instead, you would assuming that Manning is going to come back in summer. We don't know, do we? We don't know what's going to happen. But I would assume that they would want to keep things similar to how Liam Manning played. So 3-4-2-1, similar formation, similar style, I would imagine. There'll be continuity there. I can't imagine them ripping that textbook up, to be honest. Do you think there'll be any major changes, or do you think we're just going to keep it pretty simple, keep it the same? I can't see it. Can you? I can't see them changing the formation or anything at this stage.
No, I can't either. Although Balker looks like Balker's fit enough to play half a match for Suriname, I think, this week, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Apparently he was out for 6 to 8 weeks, so I don't know how that works. So I'm with you now. I don't think they'll fundamentally change the shape because they've been working on it for some time now, but they might just rotate some of them. We've got a chance to get some players back. So if Balker's back fit, Mark Harrison taking piss out of me, say we're about Radulovic. But let's be honest, the performance of the strikers we've had, he's as good a choice as any right now, isn't he? So if he's fit, my guess is he'll get wanged straight back in. But yeah, I don't think there'll be much of a change. And to be honest, Nick, they can't really because we've got no players to play with width. We haven't got a big striker to play off, have we? We've no full backs really. So I don't think it'll be much of a change. It'll be 3-4-3 or maybe even 5-4-1, depending on how they set up. They're probably not going to want to lose the game, are they?
No.
No. We played them off the park down there in August. We held them comfortably for 70 minutes. Did the Lee Grant pattern to take 2 subs off, bring on 2 players are better than the 2 that you've taken off, and we won comfortably 2-0. We never felt like we were going to lose down there. But obviously, there's been a huge switch in form. That they're on a bit of a run, aren't they? So unlike that they're a classic League One team. Have we got enough? Can the flat track bullies play a few shots on a nice deck for once? Because we've only lost twice all season, haven't lost at home since October. That you said that's good home form, but with the upheaval at the club over the last couple of weeks, you've got to think that would factor into the way the teams have been set up. The disruption is never good, so you'd wonder whether they're going to turn in a performance for Liam and his family. You would hope that would be. It shouldn't be a motivator, shouldn't be a reason to be motivated, but you would hope that they would want to give their boss something to cheer. And I also wonder whether just because he's physically not with the team, how is he able to have any input in it? Is he on a Zoom from time to time? Is he getting involved? If he wants to, I'm not saying he should by any stretch of the imagination, but if he wanted to, if he found that helped him, would he be getting involved, or is it solely going to be down to Stead and Drury? And it sounds like it's probably going to be Stead and Drury, but you never know. So I'm confident that we would be able to do something if we were going to Reading, it'd be another Plymouth. But because of the home factor, I think we've got a chance.
Yeah. Well, just while you were talking, Andy, I had a quick look at the home and away form, and Reading are 5th in the away form table, and the League One form table over the last 10 games they're 3rd. So they're in decent form. So it's tougher challenges we can probably have at home. I would think bar Cardiff probably.
Yeah.
And that's around the corner.
That's coming around the corner. Yeah, we could have got that out of the way, couldn't we? But no.
Yeah. I appreciate your optimism, but I'm not sure I shared it.
Well, they're 3rd in the form table and we're 17th, which tells you everything about the scale of the challenge over these next 7 games, really. And I just think Reading, classic League One side, like you say, Gaz, it pace out wide, big defenders and a big striker, which is all you need really in League One. But we seem to have an aversion to get in to get in it. So I think it's a draw for me, to be honest. This one, I think we'll set up not to lose. I think Reading will be relatively happy with a point if I'm being honest with where they are. If we lose, then it's not mathematically confirmed, is it? But it's certainly the final nail in the coffin. I mean, we're not going to win 6 or 7 games. Well,
they've only got 6 games left, Reading, so I'm not sure they would be that happy with a point, given that the kerfuffle. There's 5 or so sides trying to get into that top 6, if not more. So they've got us, they've got Lincoln in the next 2 games. They've got Donny, they've got Cardiff, Rotherham and Blackpool. So they've got three. Well, Rotherham and Blackpool fighting for their lives. Cardiff trying for the title. Lincoln trying for the title. Doncaster probably safe, and we're just shit. So there's 4 out of them games that they're going to have a bit of a battle in. So I don't think they would. Yeah, they're probably. If you said now, you can have a point. But if they're going to have a shot at getting in the playoffs, they're going to have to come here and try and win. And I think that may be the thing that we need for us to get something out of it. We're due 90 minutes of decent football from our football team. At least once in season, you can expect your team to play well for 90 minutes. Maybe this is the one. This is the game that it's going to happen, and we'll all get giddy and we'll all get excited, and then it'll crash and burn away at Leyton Orient on Monday.
Yeah,
and we'll all be miserable again midweek next week. Yay!
We've got fans coming on saying "I told you so." Yeah, about. I mean, to be fair, Rowan he's been bang average for us. I mean, the thing is, it's like so many players at Town with Joe Taylor, and a lot of these players get better when they leave us. Now, what does that say about the culture of this club? I'm not entirely sure, but we have a knack of turning good players shite, don't we? And then as soon as they leave, they get good again. Something's not right, is it? Something's not going right behind the scenes, which needs to be addressed. That is pretty clear, and. Yeah, I'm. It's just a shame, isn't it? Like, you had all the optimism start of the season. That Reading away game was the last time I really enjoyed an away performance under this season. I can't think of another that I really enjoyed. And I thought, do you know what? After that game, I thought we've actually cracked it here. We've got a side that is playing together as a team, and we do have that ability to grind out results. And I thought from that moment, we are going to have a season at least in the playoffs, and to be here again, probably finishing fucking 10th or 14th in the league after all that money spent is just soul destroying.
Yeah, I just seen what David Jones has put into the chat about his situation. It's obviously similar to Liam Manning, so God bless you, David. All thoughts with you, even though that's a long time ago. That perfectly illustrates the situation that Liam's in. That never goes away, does it? Never goes away. So sorry to hear that, mate. And yeah, it's difficult to. You would hope that there's a reaction of sorts from the players for Liam and his family. That's what I'm looking for from them. I think that's the least that they can do. I know that they owe him anything. You know what I mean? It's difficult to put into words what anything that's relevant here, because I've not been through it. Thank the Lord. The prospect of it is just beyond belief to have to think about. But yeah, we would hope that we can give something that will put a little bit of a smile on Liam and his family's face on come 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon, and maybe just cheer us all up. We could do with a bit, couldn't we? Would be nice.
They just got to go out and give 100%, Andy. That's all. But that should be a given every game. Do you know what I mean? But it's a sorry state of affairs that we're having to say, can you go out and give 100%, because you want to give everything for Liam, obviously, with him that he can't be here, and you want to put that in just to give that little bit of positivity. But they should be performing to the best every game for the fans, for the coaching staff, for everybody. I hope they do. I hope they don't go and lose fucking 4-5-0 strolling about, and I hope that doesn't happen. But you just don't know with this side now, do you? We don't know what to expect. And I guess there is a bit of uncertainty for Reading in their preparation now. They don't know if they're going to change things up a bit or what. But I don't know. It's just been a bit of another sorry season again. But
where are they in the table, Reading now? I'm just having a look.
The sixth under.
Where are they in the table? So
they're
in the playoffs.
They're in the playoffs, yeah. They're a point clear, but then Stevenage do have 2 games in hand still. I think they've only played 38. So it's still all to play for them. And I mean, Plymouth are coming up strong now. They're on a run. So
yeah, they are.
Yeah, but yeah, we should have been looking at some of the points we've thrown away. We should have been well clear. Even that Bolton at home, looking 3 points down the drain in 2 minutes.
Yeah, 2 minutes.
Vale, there was so many, isn't there? There's so many games
Exeter,
that you think,
Yeah.
Lincoln. So, I said it also. Our away form's killed us, hasn't it? That's what's killed this season. Yeah. Anything like half reasonable away from home, we'd be comfortably in the playoffs. But as you say, Andy, they're mentally weak, aren't they? So
yeah. So with that in mind, what are our predictions for Friday, lads? Gaz, I'll go you first, mate. What do you reckon?
I'm saying 2-1 Reading.
2-1 Reading. Andy?
2-1 Town.
Give your predictions, guys, as well. I'm going to say 2-2. I'm going to say 2-2. I think there'll be goals in it.
Goal fest.
Goal fest, yeah. But
it might be one. You might be right. It might be one or other. I'm saying, oh, well, they won't want to lose the game. Maybe they're thinking, fuck it, this is my, Drury and Steady might be thinking, well, this is my chance.
Genuinely nothing to lose.
Go win
nothing
6
to lose.
Games, even if
all-out attack.
Liam Manning comes back, I'm in line for a job in League 2 somewhere, maybe.
Yeah. We shall see. But I just wish there were more on it. But I think it's dead, isn't it? So I don't know. It's a bit weird because like normally this is the time of the season where you can start getting excited. Do you know what I mean? Where there's a lot on the line, and it's kind of like season's almost done early, isn't it? And it's like sort of thinking towards the summer and what we need to do. Obviously, depending on whether Liam Manning's still here or we don't know, but we there's a lot of work to be done in summer, that's for sure, for Markham and Co. So we shall see. But yeah, thank you very much, guys, as always, for all your comments. It has been a pleasure. Well, not talking about the football, but it's been a pleasure to have. Apart from everything we've been talking about, it's been brilliant.
Yeah, it's been great.
But it's nice to see everyone getting involved and chipping in with comments and everything. And like we always say every episode, come on. Steve was kind enough to join us tonight. We want as many people on as possible because we've all got different views, different opinions. So it's really good to have that variety. And yeah, we're going to be obviously going into next season as well. So for anyone that wants to get on, just message us, DM us on at the Town Social on X, and then we'll sort it out for you to come on and join us. But yeah, we'll call it a day, guys. We'll do another episode probably next week, and then yeah, let's hope we get 3 points against Reading and see where we go from there. But thanks, guys. Thanks, Andy, and take care, everyone. We'll see you after. Up the Town.
There's a team that is dear.